If I have to find a word which expresses what my father and his generation gave to me and to others, is conviction. Being completely convinced of what you want to do. Not do, yeah, perhaps we can do it a bit like that, we can do it, no. Look for the truth and do it, what you think is true. It has to be played this way, and there's no other way it has to be played, this way. And I think that's the key. We're too much is McDonald's, you know, something. It's always nice, it's pleasant, but it doesn't have a real saying. We have to fight when we are in our room with the score, conductors, fight for every, how does that have to sound? How does that have to sound? How does it, and we must know exactly what we want, what we are asking then for the musicians. We must be convinced of what we want. Once more, the same thing, it's easier to get in there. 4:35. With piano. 4:35. 1, 2, 3. And that is something this older generation really had. Complete conviction of what they're doing, even if they're wrong. But it's better being wrong with conviction than right without conviction. I'm 73 years old. I have no problems to talk about my life before or whatever. I'm very lucky, actually. I had a strong midlife crisis. When I was around 40, as it usually happens, around the 40s. And it took about 2 years. It was very intense. That means, what is it? It's questioning, looking back in the past, questioning the past, and saying, now, how is it going on? How is the future? What is the future going to bring me? How am I going? That's why it's more or less in the middle of the life. And I remember going through this evolution, and I had one book, strangely, it was this book, who always accompanied me, it was Zarathustra from Egypt. Which answered many questions, which I read, and I tried to think, and I spoke with many people, and I have friends. But after that, I had something which I would call new antennas. I had the feeling antennas were growing out of my head, and I sensed completely new things, perhaps like a child who wakes up, sense suddenly new smells, new looks, a tree, the raindrops, the smallest things suddenly became important. They had something, a meaning. I didn't say, oh, it's raining, there's nothing. No, where there's a drop. What is this drop meaning? Where does it flow? Or when in spring the flowers open of the tree, which one? And the smell. And so I relived, I started living a new life. It was a very strong rebirth in many ways. And then sort of one gets again a habit, but it was something very important, and it took a few years, and it was a wonderful time.